William Patterson University Television.
Welcome back to the desk. As the MLB postseason is full steam ahead, Steven has the latest.
Thank you, Chris. New Marlins owner Derek Jeter has already snagged the first Yankee executive to bring down to Southern Florida. Gary Denbo, who is currently the Yankees' VP of Player Development, will be the head of the same role in Miami. Denbo managed Jeter in the minors and was his hitting coach during the 2001 season. After 23 seasons with the Yankees, his last day will be Monday. The Diamondbacks are under investigation by Major League Baseball after assistant coach Ariel Prieto was seen wearing an Apple Watch. This came only 3 weeks after the Red Sox were sanctioned for wearing that same watch and stealing signs versus the Yankees. Commissioner Rob Manfred warned teams of harsh punishment for anyone involved in electronic dishonesty. The Diamondbacks were swept in 3 games by the Dodgers in the NLDS. In other news, Sandy Alderson is expected to sign a new 2-year deal with the Mets this week. This comes in the aftermath of eliminating manager Terry Collins, pitching coach Dan Warthen, and head trainer Ray Ramirez. Anderson, who turns 70 next month, will be signed until 2020. On Wednesday, he had been pledged to fix the holes he created in the offseason during this offseason.
Thanks, Steven. Now we're going to send it over to Jake Bailey to tell us more on the Mets' latest purchase.
The New York Mets are finally done sending their players across the country from AAA to the majors. The Mets have bought the Syracuse Chiefs from the Community Baseball Club of Central New York. The Chiefs will replace the Las Vegas 51s as the Mets' AAA club effective in 2019. The club currently serves as the Nationals minor league affiliate and has done so for 9 seasons. The Mets now have 3 minor league affiliates in the state of New York: Brooklyn, Binghamton, and now Syracuse. They'll look to continue to expand the brand across the tri-state area over the coming years. Now I'll send it over to Joe Rea to break down the MLB postseason race.
Thank you, Jake. Joe Rea, Jeff Lombardi. The New York Yankees are headed to the ALCS for the first time since 2012. Let's take a look at the highlights. New York Yankees, Cleveland Indians, Game 5. Corey Kluber on the mound for the Indians. Top of the first, 2 outs, 2 strikes. Didi Gregorius takes it deep off of Corey Kluber, puts the Yankees on the board, 1-0. Second home run of the postseason for Didi. Top of the third, 1 out, 1 on. Didi Gregorius again off of Corey Kluber. Deep to right field, puts the Yankees on the board, 3-0. Second home run of the game for Didi. Bottom of the 5th, Roberto Perez at the plate. CC Sabathia on the mound to right field. Austin Jackson will come around from third. He'll score. First run of the game for Cleveland. Very next batter, Giovanni Urshela. His second hit of the postseason, but he makes it count. Trickles it into right field with runners on the corner and makes it a 1-run ball game, 3-2 Yankees. That'll be it for CC. David Robertson comes in, gets the final 2 outs of the inning. Top of the 9th, Brett Gardner at the plate. A veteran player gets a veteran hit. Aaron Hicks comes around to score to make this a 4-2 game, but then Francisco Lindor can't handle it. Frazier comes in from third and makes this a 5-2 ball game. Lindor, a 2-time All-Star, a Gold Glover. I guess everybody makes mistakes. 5-2 ball game. Bottom of the 9th, Chapman in for his second inning of work. Austin Jackson at the plate, 1-0-1 on the gun right down the middle. And the New York Yankees will advance to the ALCS for the first time since 2012. So the Indians, who won 102 games this year, they blew a 3-1 series lead to the Cubs last year in the World Series. Now they blew a 2-0 series to the Yankees, who weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs this year. Is Terry Francona's job going to be on the line in the offseason?
I wouldn't say that Francona's job is in any sorts of trouble. I just think that it just goes to show you how tough it is to really win a postseason series, to finish it. Alex Rodriguez was saying on Fox Sports the other night that the last 27 outs of a series are the hardest to get. The last 27 to clinch is tough because you have the pressure. Cleveland came into New York. They had 2 games in New York, and then in Game 5, anything can really happen. So I would say Francona's safe.
It is shocking that their season did end so soon. Terry Francona did sound pretty somber after the game. Let's take a listen to that.
You know, nobody wanted the season to be over. It doesn't wind down. It comes to a crashing halt. And nobody, myself included, was ready for it to be over. We felt good about ourselves. You know, we came down the stretch playing very good baseball, and we did some things in this series that I don't think were characteristic of our team. We made some errors, kick the ball around a little bit. Sometimes you don't swing the bat. That's part of it. But we made it harder to win, in some cases, especially the last two games.
It must be something about 100-win teams. 23 100-win teams in the history of baseball. 3 teams have made the World Series. 2 of those 3 teams were the New York Yankees. Jeff, explain that.
Well, I just think you talk about the Yankees' 100-win seasons. That was during their dynasty run of the 90s where teams running off 3 World Series in a row, 4 in 5 years. You just don't see that in today's game. I don't think it has anything to do with 100 wins. I just think, again, it's the same thing with the pressure of getting the last 27 outs and securing that win. It's the postseason it's just a different animal. It's the regular season where the Indians can run off 22 straight, but the Yankees were able to win 3 in a row where it mattered.
Very hostile for MLB managers right now. Joe Girardi takes a team that was supposed to be rebuilding this year. They weren't even supposed to make the playoffs. Now he takes them to the ALCS, and his job is still on the line. There's people calling out for his job. What side do you take on this, Jeff?
I'm with Girardi. Obviously, after Game 2, there was a lot of fire, but again, back to the whole postseason thing where anything can change in an instant, anything is magnitude. So obviously, Game 2, his mishap was magnitude, but you come back to the Bronx, Tanaka picks him up in Game 3, Severino picks him up in Game 4, and it was almost a collective team duel in Game 5 where they came together and really just won for their manager. So right now, I think he's safe. I mean, the guy's been there for 10 years. He averages 91 wins a year. He's won a World Series title. I think Joe's job is safe.
Even if he does leave the Yankees, he might not have to leave New York. Reports came out that the Mets would actually be interested in Joe Girardi if he were to part ways with the Yankees. What do you think about Joe Girardi in a Mets uniform?
I mean, I could definitely see any team. I think if Girardi gets the boot from the Yankees, I think he would be atop any team's managerial list. Like I just said, the guy's averaged 91 wins a year for the last 10 years. He won Manager of the Year in 06 with the Marlins in his first year as a manager. He handles the media well. He knows how to work with young players and veterans, as you can see with the Yankees. Now he's got a whole mix. So I definitely think Girardi would be a top candidate for a lot of teams, including the Mets. It wouldn't have to go far.
Speaking of the Red Sox, John Farrell was recently fired by the Red Sox. They were eliminated by the Astros in the ALDS. 3 90-win seasons, 3 division crowns, and a World Series in his first year. What's their rationale behind firing Farrell?
I think you look at Farrell in 5 years with Boston. His first year, he took, if you remember 2012, the whole Bobby Valentine fiasco. He took over that team that was very talented and took them to the World Series the next year. So it was almost kind of how Joe Torre stepped in Buck Showalter's team from 95 to 96, where he just took his players, took them to the World Series. Next 2 years, you have 2 teams that are the doormat of the AL East. And then the last 2 years, you have 2 90-win teams, and you win 1 game. So it's in a media like Boston, which is arguably the second greatest sports city in the world, where there's a lot of pressure constantly. I just don't think that can fly. The guy hasn't won a playoff game since 2013. He's 12-11 in the playoffs as a Boston manager. I guess they could find someone different.
All right, thank you, Jeff. It's always a pleasure. Joe Raya, Jeff Lombardi. We'll send it over to Chris to break down the rest in the MLB postseason. Chris?
After the Cubs defeated the Nationals, they will officially travel to Los Angeles to take on the Dodgers. Game 1 will be this Saturday. The Yankees and Astros will face off in Game 1 of the ALCS tonight at 8 p.m. That's all for baseball, but do not go anywhere because up next, basketball is back.